Moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. It is a beautiful Thursday morning, and we are so happy to be in your company. We're coming to you live this morning from the third floor Port Mall, Lower Scarborough, Tobago. It's a beautiful, beautiful day outside. It's a day you'd want to be out. And so this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. I am Rhea Richardson George. Good morning to Tobago, Trinidad, those of you viewing in the Caribbean, and those of you viewing on the live. Good morning, good morning. Well, viewers, unfortunately, Julian is not going to be with us for a few days. He's taking some time off. But Julian, we trust that all is well wherever you are and that you remain safe until you get back to us here at Tobago Updates. Well, before we head on into things, and we've got quite an interesting program this morning. We're going to be talking about the Buku goat race. And we want to talk about that. We certainly do want to talk about that. We want to know what was in the minds of the promoters when they selected the entertainment for this family friendly quote unquote family friendly activity or event. We'd like to know what was in the thoughts. So we're certainly going to be talking about those issues coming up on the program this morning. We've got birthdays coming up as well, and we're going to tell you a little bit later on what else is going to be coming up in the program. We want to say a special good morning to all of you viewing us this morning on the Facebook Live, all of you on our YouTube channels, all of you who are viewing us on M&E TV. Gael, you're in Trinidad, you're relaxed. I want to say a special welcome home to my auntie Esther Holdip, who is in Trinidad and Tobago just for a few days, but we're certainly happy to have her. And I know because she's there, Auntie Debbie Gomez, good morning to you. Special good morning going out to you and to all of you locked on to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We're going to head on over to News in 90 Seconds with Chanel.
Thank you so much, Rhea. And here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, the 13th of April, 2023. Tobago fishermen threatened to protest in front of the Barbados High Commission. According to the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association, the number of Bajan fishermen catching fish in Tobago waters has increased. They said this negatively impacted the amount of flying fish Tobagonian fishermen caught. The All Tobago Fisherfolk Association also wrote to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley for an intervention to be made in the matter after not receiving favorable responses from the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard and the THA. Meanwhile, Vernell Nichols, who is the president of the Barbados National Union of Fisherfolk Organizations, stated that they would not comment until the Barbados government responds to the accusations of overfishing and bullying by Barbados fishermen in Tobago waters. Additionally, a fraud squad office was launched in Tobago by the TTPS. The inauguration of the fraud squad also allows for fewer delays and more resources to support reporting and investigations of fraudulent activities in the Tobago division. Additionally, officers in Tobago will benefit from the expertise and cross-training of the fraud squad in various reports on the island associated with white-collar crime. Soon, the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau and the Financial Investigations Bureau would also be joining the fraud squad in Tobago. And finally, opposition MP David Lee called on the Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and Minister of Finance Colin Imbert to explain why there has not been a reduction in fuel prices at gas stations across the country. At a press conference today, MP Lee reminded the country that Dr. Rowley's statement during the last budget debate indicated that if oil prices fell below 85 and 80 a barrel, citizens would experience a reduction in fuel prices. Oil prices are currently hovering around 83.13 per barrel, and fuel prices remain unchanged according to MP Lee. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Back to you, Rhea.
Thank you so much there, Chanel. And you look quite lovely in your black, indeed. Well, viewers, let's just connect with some of you on the live this morning. We say good morning this morning to Alicia Devines. Good morning, Travis Moses. Good morning to Alicia Samuel. Good morning, Andre Edwards. Good morning to you. Brenda Campbell, good morning. Good morning. Those of you connecting with us on the live, good morning. Good morning. And, we want to chat a little bit this morning about what's coming up on the program. Certainly, we've got an interesting program this morning. And Nikosi Phillips is going to be on the program with us, political leader of Unity of the People. And we're going to be talking this morning about the Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival 2023. A synopsis. And then we're going to be chatting this morning with Candace. We want to know what Candace is up to. Candace, what are you up to today?
With Out and About for Tobago updates, and we are here at Turtle Beach, and we've got something fun happening behind us here at Turtle Beach. If you want to find out more about it, you gotta tune in a little later on the program, where I'm going to share with you something great.
Never a dull moment with Candace Jackson. Never a dull moment. And then we're going to be wrapping things up this morning, chatting with Joel Maury, a.k.a. Positive, gospel recording artist, about one-on-one with Positive and the Tobago Jazz Festival for 2023. So that's just what's coming up on the program later on this morning. And there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk about where Tobago has been heading. We've heard even from the minority leader, Kelvin Morris, who has spoken to the issue of Tobago having lost its Tobago-ness. But viewers, if we are completely honest with ourselves out there, there was a time when Tobagonians blamed foreigners. Let me say foreigners so we don't limit it to just Trinidadians. But there was a time when Tobagonians blamed foreigners for the crime that was taking place in Tobago. Until our eyes were opened and we realized that it was a lot of Tobagonians who were committing a lot of these crimes that were being meted out to Tobagonians. And we talk about Tobago losing its Tobago-ness. We need to go back to the days of Tobagonians looking out for Tobagonians. Tobagonians, loving their neighbors, loving our neighbors. When you look at persons within the Tobago space who are waiting on contracts to be signed and documents to be signed off on to be able to collect monies. It's sitting at Tobagonians' desk. It's sitting on top of their desk or in their drawer. And you wonder why this is happening. You wonder what is behind it. What could be the motive behind it? I'm saying here, let us continue or remember to treat each other the way that we would want to be treated. And that was the Tobago-ness. That was the Tobago way of doing things. We need to return to those days when we thought of others more highly than we thought of ourselves. All right, and we put other person's views and their happiness in front of our own. It seems as though we've certainly moved away from that, and we are all about self-seeking, fame, self-seeking, our own gain. And if we want to go back, let's go back to those days. If we really want to go back, let's go back to those days. All right, so we want to head on over into our birthday celebrations at this time. And we got a few persons celebrating their birthdays, birthday shout-outs. That's right. And we're going to start things this morning by sending birthday greetings to the lovely Princess Danae Job, from Julian, Uncle Erland, Mommy Nikki, Daddy, and the entire family. So love going out to you today, Danae. And birthday greetings from all of us here at Tobago Update. Trust that you have a really great one. We have a birthday today. As well, we have Chantel Adams celebrating from the entire Parks family and the daycare babies. So happy birthday going out to you this morning, Chantel Adams, and we trust that you have a really great one. I'm not sure if the Parks family are going to be giving you that cake, but maybe you can talk to Anton and Mrs. Parks. I'm going to leave that right there, put them on the hot spot. All right, so have a great one today, Chantel Adams, and from all of us here at Tobago Updates. And the lovely Petal Young Walker celebrating a birthday. Petal, I was really trying to pull a more up-to-date picture of you, but you still look gorgeous, not a day older. Trust that you have a really great one today. Happy birthday, and lots of love going out to you from your family, from your other daddy, Oswald George, and our family, and all of us here at Tobago Updates. And That's right. We've got a very special birthday going out this morning to Abby Taylor, presiding officer of the Tobago House of Assembly, celebrating her birthday oh, that was yesterday. Oh, you look lovely, darling. You do look lovely. Happy belated birthday going out to you from all of us here at Tobago Updates and all of the people of Tobago. Happy birthday going out to you. And this young chap here is Mr. Handel Farley Beckles, celebrating a birthday, brother of Handel Beckles, former assemblyman, celebrating our birthday. Happy birthday going out to you today, Farley. Trust that you have a great one from your wife, Nedra, and from your beautiful children. Trust that you have a really great one today. Well, viewers, it's just about that time for us to switch over into our first interview. So this is your opportunity, wherever you're viewing us from, to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Getting themselves off to a great start, the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development can now have home repair checks ready as soon as 3 weeks from date of approval. Continuing on the topic of homes, Secretary for the Division, Mr. Ian Pollard, confirms the request for proposal has gone out for the Shervin Estate.
And we are hoping that sometime in April, we could award a contract so we could start grubbing or clearing of the land, the contractor, whoever is selected in the dry season, so we could start that. We're hoping that we could complete these homes in the next 32 months.
400 plus units are expected to be built. The Secretary affirms that businesses from the private sector are also expected to participate.
I had a consultation on Tuesday morning with all the hardware owners and even the electrical store owners, West Side, Downtown Electrical, everyone. And they have high praise of the division and the initiative because they say they have never been invited around the table to have that discussion, because my leadership style is that persons must be informed.
Yes.
And once they know what is coming, it's not going to come in the next 2 weeks, but construction will start probably in the next 6-7 months. So we had got discussion with them so that they could get themselves prepared, either bulk buy as an association, so that whoever the contractor is could now find favor with their prices and award have them supply them the necessary materials that they need.
While the Shervin Estate projects is estimated to cost over $300 million and is the division's major project on the island, there's also ongoing work still taking place in the Adventure and Adelphi estates in Plymouth and Mason Hall. The division hopes to have at least 100 units ready by March and April of next year.
Welcome back again, viewers. Welcome back this morning. And on our program this morning, again, as I mentioned earlier, we will be chatting on the Buku Crab and Goat Race Festival that took place just a few days ago. We're going to be getting a synopsis this morning from our very good friend, Nikosi Phillips, political leader of Unity of the People. And we're going to get the thoughts this morning and do a synopsis on the 2023 Buku Goat and Crab Race Festival. Good morning and welcome to Nikosi.
Good morning to Tobago Updates and good morning to you, Ms. Ria Richardson. How are you this morning?
Doing very well. And first of all, I need to ask you, where is your phone?
That phone is under lock and key.
Good.
Yes, lock and key.
I think we need to keep that phone where it is for this interview as we move on into 2023.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit. The Buku Goat and Crab Race has, for 2023, we've seen it. There are a lot of comments coming out. Mm-hmm. But looking back now, how would you grade 2023's Buku Crab and Goat Race? What grade?
I would give it, in terms of the show, to captivate the people and what the essence of the show it was, I'm being very fair. I will give it a 95.
You give it a 95? 95%?
95%, right?
The overall grade would be 95%?
The overall grade in terms of bringing the people out and showing the people what the production is about,
right,
and the goat race and crab race going on and on, I would give them a 95. But there are internal issues that would have shown a dilemma in a breakdown, I think, which we will have a conversation as to now, after the 95, why did you still say that?
Okay, good. I'm glad you went there first. I'm glad that you went there first. So you're giving them a 95%, and then we can now break things down. Let's talk about what happened initially, where the committee was asking media houses to pay to cover, I see look on your face, to pay to, or charging media houses to cover the event. And then over just a few days before the event, we saw where there was a change and adjustment to that initiative, and we saw where certain groups were being asked to pay a fee, an adjustment in the fee. But your thoughts on that very quickly here. What was in the mind? And I mean, you can only speak to what you know, because you were there at one point in time, and you did share on social media some of your thoughts on that. But what are your thoughts on the media, Tobago's media, being asked to pay?
My thoughts are the same, because, you know, it was just too last minute, and I believe, as they say, maybe because of lack of funding, but then again, you can't use that lack of funding to stress on the media paying, because my simple question was, how do you then security the persons and the tourists who come in with these small cameras? You had the drones around the area. How do you then security? Because you can't force on the media, especially our local media, which would have carried or should carry the coverage of persons who can't make it, persons who are at work, persons who are disabled and couldn't come. So for me, I find it was nonsense. I think after the social media bashing, they would have had some sort of level of common sense after that, hopefully, and they would have made changes. But as I said, it's up to the media houses who then wanted to carry on with it, and some of them did and some of them did not. So for me, I think it was just a level of where we could get the money from, and that was it.
It was about getting money
towards whatever they have to cover.
By any means necessary?
Well, maybe, as I said, maybe that's what their interpretation, and if that was the interpretation, this was the wrong way, because you can't use the media and force the media for that, because if the Tobago media does not cover it or cover these things, who then? We can't say, okay, TTT will come from Trinidad and cover the Tobago story or the leg of it. But our Tobago updates, our Tobago Channel 5, those persons who we know, people looking out for to listen and to watch at the crab race, and I just find it was just atrocious. So I got the persons bash them, they listened to the social media and they did what they're supposed to do, although it still didn't come out in the end where some social media or some media houses did not come, but they have a lot of work to do.
All right, now I want to ask you here about the choice, and the Buku Crab and Goat Race has always been promoted as a family event, a family festival, a family activity around the Easter time. This year, the choice of entertainment. Let's talk about the choice of entertainment, because I thought it was atrocious. I thought it was one. Understand what I'm saying here, please. Understand what I'm saying here. The choice of artists, understanding and knowing well that this is the type of music. These are the lyrics. There was nothing. There were no clean lyrics. This is the artist. This is what the artist promotes. Why this particular artist for this particular event? This promoted a family-friendly event.
And I posted something on social media, and a lot of persons were saying, oh, as a leader, I shouldn't say that. But they made a wrong choice. As I said, for me, I already stood at I say plainly, the cabal-led executive, they are just doing things that they think that will benefit making money and does not interest the people or the community of Buku or the environs. And it was a very bad choice. As I said, I spoke to the individual, the artist Temper, before, And, you know, we were even having the conversation when I was telling that artist about management, the image going forward, not just sticking on one content, on one lyrical content, but expanding your horizon. I saw you do a chutney and expanding your lyrical content because you have the young people following you. And that individual could attest to that because I was saying to that. But I left just before that performance. And when I woke up yesterday or last night, because I slept right through, I saw social media going crazy. So everybody like, why you're not singing it? And when I saw it and I heard the children singing, Lord have mercy, it was horrible.
And I
Really
wish,
horrible.
and you can see, I wish that we could, I even asked my director a little while ago if we could have played part of it, blocking out some of the expletives, but they said no, it might be a little too difficult
Exactly,
at this
they
point.
have children in it, and then
The children,
yeah.
and for those viewers who would have missed it, what we're talking about this morning here is the artist Temper, who performed at the Buku Crab and Goat Race on Tuesday. The lyrics are
not befitting for inappropriate. Yes.
Thank you,
Right?
National.
And you see, we're
Inappropriate.
bashing the temper. But it's not just temper, it's the executive, it's the council who brought that individual
What
knowing
questions asked before, and
yes,
again
exactly.
here, when you listen to Temper's music,
it is for a party, it is a great weekend, it is not for the environment like this.
Family-friendly type event.
And persons are saying, oh, children should be outside.
And we heard those comments coming that children should not have been there at that time. But this was promoted. They're on vacation. It was promoted as a family type event.
Exactly.
If their parents are there, they are also there.
Yes, because there were a lot of children who were lost. I wasn't there. The officers come in, the security came in, this child is lost. Where were the parents? A lot of them were lost during that time.
Enjoying
so as
music.
I said, the village council, maybe they wanted to gravitate on making the money after. As I said, it was just about making the money and not a consensus of what do we bring for the family? How do we keep the continuance of people coming in? And that was there. They made a wrong choice again. And a lot of wrong choices there, because even though my questions that I've asked, where was the police service? Because if the police was there, anytime an artist is using obscene, they would shut them down immediately.
They
where was the
usually
police
do,
service?
but where were they?
But
probably enjoying the performance.
No, but I overheard that is part of the issue too. There were no police present, and maybe they didn't pay for the police as alleged, so the police did not show up. If you look at it, there were no police there in the barricades. There were no police at all. So whereby the safety and security of our citizens, which should have been done, it was not done. And that is an issue I'm hoping the village council could clear up, because I was there and the police was there. Maybe they just feel like they wanted to come around and they were there. We have the issue of the bar closing 45 minutes right after it opened, and the time the bar was the bar license came, and then the police shut them down because there were no police. So it was
all of these things happened.
Listen, Ria, we need a whole day to start this thing.
Before we go on here, a viewer on the live is saying, I find that time of the night the children should have been at home. The viewer also went on to state that their children, my children returned home 6:30. And viewer, we hear you loud and clear, but please be reminded that this was promoted as a family type event. The children are also on vacation, and majority of them would have come from within the area. So this is just the Tobago way of life when it comes to the Buku Crab and Goat Race Festival. Wherever the children are coming from. And remember, parents are also there, so of course they would have their children. Stating here that the children should not have been there, I don't think is the issue. Let us put the responsibility on the shoulders of those who should carry it. And that would be the promoters of this event, the village council who would have been putting the event together. Let us not stray from the issue here and put the blame elsewhere. Let us put it where it belongs. So I want to thank you for that comment as well. The viewer also said, even Sunday night, there were no police officers at the scene.
Listen, we have an issue with the officers, and it was something that happens even when I was a youth officer at the village council. The price that the police officers call for these events, especially this being a cultural Tobago event, the price is too much. It's way too much. And then sometimes you see, I don't want to bash the officers. I'm not bashing the TTPS.
Why do you say too much? What is the price? What was the price?
As alleged, I think it was $53,000 was the cost for this event, and they said that they had a bill from last year, but that's what I heard so far.
Okay.
And as I said, I'm waiting for the village council to clear that up. They'll be the ones to clear that up.
Okay.
My problem and the issue was the safety and security.
Right.
I know on Sunday night, the officers came and shut down the music at, I think, 4 o'clock, because they were supposed to have a juve this Sunday school, and they cut them off because they did not have the necessary documents, which was good, because at the end of the day, you just can't promote something out of the blue just like that, because you also have to look at safety and security. Notwithstanding that Sunday school, we always have fights every week or any other week, so the safety and security, the officers came and they did their part at that time. The prices is too much. There has to be some evaluation. For example, I have a bar, I'm seeking a bar license, and I have to pay the police officers, and they get to go to the police officer or the Justice for the Peace first, and then they put their strength and they put their numbers. It is too much. It is too much, right? Because if I'm holding my event and I don't want police officers, I could have security and hire my security, which may turn out to be cheaper. But maybe because you're seeing the visibility of the police officer, it gives some sort of a restraint from persons behaving the way that they want to. But at the end of the day, I think it's a compromise where the officers and promoters should say, okay, good, we need security for the bar, security for the gates, security to take home more money. That's about it. We don't need all this full strength on the compound. And that, I think there should be a conversation to that level going forward. Not having the police service there, like I said, the village council ought to clear that area up, because the safety and security and citizens were at risk in that time. Yes. We had other issues where there was not a communication.
But fire officials.
There were fire officials fully in there. No police officers.
Or security.
We had other issues whereby there was no communication within tourism, the persons who are doing VIP and the persons who are to enter. Because even though I had an invitation, and these people telling me I have to have on a band, I'm sure the girl didn't even watch at the band. She didn't even watch at the invitation. You have to have a band, but you know it's because of me. They tried to give me that attitude, but I just walked past.
What did your invitation state?
It came from the tourism. It came from tourism. Tourism sent out VIP with bands in it, and she didn't even just wait. She just, accosted me, just like, they don't like me. But I didn't want to show the colors that I wanted to show, so I just passed that individual straight and went to the person who was dealing with the tourism VIP, and she told me, okay, come in and go the round next side. And there was no communication, because there are persons coming there with the invitation and they're sending them back. Then you had the part where you have people sitting along in VIP. I think the village council had VIP passes, and some, you see a lot of people who not supposed to be VIP, family members, all these people have VIP things, and then they was going to tourism to get food. They wasn't getting the food. Some of the sponsors were not tending to, because there were nobody from the village council tending to the VIPs. And I said to them, because the night before I was helping them, and I did endorse the event, because when I saw the setup and everything, I said, okay, good.
I did see that on social media. You did a walkthrough. It was a bit dark. Yeah. You did a walkthrough. There was no one on the compound.
I hope you didn't see the part where I almost fall long too. I'll put it on this time, but it's okay.
No, right? I'm sorry. No. But you did do a walkthrough, and you did indicate that you were endorsing the event. You said everything was set up. We saw the stands, we saw the grounds, and you did endorse the event.
Yeah, I did endorse the event, because, as I said, for me being in it, to now looking at where it is going, and we need a correction. It is not 1925, it is 1924 the goat race started. So this year would have been 99 years or 98 years. I think next year is going to be 99 or 100 years or something. And not because we had COVID and we didn't do it. The year is the year, so we can't really say, okay, it's not the year is the year. So it started in 1924 and not 1925, and they should be ashamed to say it started in 1925. We have a book home. Mommy is looking for the book, because Mommy and all was a part of the goat racing. We had Mr. Sonny Murray and all these with the folk theater and stuff. So they know, they are the actually makers of these things. The Rolex and stuff, where they had the police woman, the community police and stuff, we used to be in the walker, in the street parade and stuff. So Mommy told me this morning, she said, make sure and tell Ria, I say it's 1924 and not 1925.
Thank you,
so
Mommy.
we get in the years round. These are information that these executives supposed to have. Yeah. As I said, my first hit at them was not about the goat racing, and I never said, I remember I made a disclaimer on your Tobago updates whereby it was put across and I said boycott the goat racing. I never said that.
No. I think that was clear.
Yeah, that was clear. So I was going to make it again.
I think when we did that interview with you about a week or 2 weeks ago, when you came on and you heard the introduction, I think you exclaimed on
exactly.
What?
Yeah.
And we did clear that
right? And it was never about to target the show. It is to target the cabal-led executive, and I will continue to say cabal-led executive because there are certain things that are happening, and as I've said before, the void election that was there, the person's not getting the time in the community to be a part of it. That is what I was targeting. All right? This goat racing, honestly, sitting in the VIP and relaxing and watching and then work. And I've always said there are only two individuals who actually push their foot forward, which is Miss Linda Ramsawak and Roseanne Charles. Those are the two persons behind the back. We used to be three of us. We used to be there right through. And then, as I always said to them, they are the two that are putting the effort out, doing everything. And then when things go bad, they start to hit the two of them. And the two of them still taking the hit. They come after the village council who's supposed to support them, not supporting them, and then they're going back at it again. So, you know.
Nico, see, the Science Sweetness Edmond says on the live, they had police officers there. It's just the time they came from, but it had officers. Shaquille Jones says, I believe that the event did pretty well this year.
Yeah.
There were minor management issues that could have been better, but for the most part, the event was successful in bringing the community together. Effort should be placed on festival management to reap the benefits, profitable or otherwise. Thank you so much there, Shaquille Jones. Maybe they need to have you on board with them, Shaquille Jones.
And as I said, it's we're doing this too long to have these errors, right? And as I said, it's short notice, and not even short notice or not. As soon as the event's finished, you must have a synopsis. After the synopsis, you plan right ahead. And my thing is there now going to be a competition with the Taste of Buku going to happen right after? And what are we going to do now? Is it going to have a next real leg of the Taste of Buku? Because we know we had the Taste of Buku because there was nothing done by the village council during that time, and we now coming out of COVID.
So both events are going to be happening.
Well, that's what I wanted to find out as well in terms of the cost and stuff. But as I said, the event was successful. My other issue was the health part of it, where a person's food was dumped. And
the health part of it,
yes, where a person's food was dumped at the event. Well, not in the event, but outside of the event.
Food was dumped?
Yeah, because persons or vendors would have come to sell, and the health could have closed them down, shut them down, and dumped their food and stuff. So when I was coming out of the VIP, a lot of persons were considering me like, what going on? And you're not here to say, I was like, what happened? I don't know, because I didn't see them selling, and they were like, hell, come on, dump people food and tell them to dump this. And
this happened at the event?
This happened right outside the event.
Right. But in relation to the event,
yes,
this was on the same day of the event.
Day of the event, because it's a Tuesday, I have vendors outside. And what I also looked at, because someone like, oh, they don't have heaters, they don't have this. I took a walk through the vending part of the goat race in Easter. Spectacular. But there were some issues there too. Some persons didn't have heaters, some persons didn't have certain things, some had on socks with shoes. And, you know, I watched because I said, I hope whatever happened on the outside doesn't reflect on the inside.
Right.
And, you know, it's not showing a biasness with some people getting turned on and some people didn't. So, you know, that's another issue we have to look at, because the person selling, these persons didn't just want in the supermarket and pick up the grocery items. There must be something done in regards to persons who are vending and these health officers just dumping their food just like that. There must be some sort of compensation or something.
Compensation if they are flouting the law and the requirements. And the thing is, we're not certain at this point. But I will say that Dr. Faith B. Israel was on our program about a week or so ago, speaking to these issues as we were heading into Easter, knowing that these events were upcoming.
Right.
She did make mention of the fact that persons needed to have certain measures in place. Or else she said that no two ways. She was standing with her officers, her health officers. She said, we will shut you down.
Well, yeah, I missed that part because I was not in the country. I missed that part. I missed that part. But, you know, as I said, I'm not against the officers. They have their job and their duties to do, but some level of compensation should be given, because if somebody spends Listen, I'm not being biased or anything,
I hear
but
you.
for persons who spend all this money out there, and yes, if you don't have the necessary requirements to the fulfillment of the health officers,
Yep.
you also have to look at persons getting sick as well. So it's a two-way thing.
But it's the risk you take.
Exactly.
It's a risk you take in standing as a vendor who does not have all of the requirements to sell food or food items. It's another risk you take as a patron to purchase food that may or may not have been ill prepared.
So let me be a normal person and say this.
Yeah.
Some of these places that I'm seeing at nights, where these big restaurants in their establishment or the side of the establishment,
Health can close them down as well.
Well, I would like them to pay some visit late in the night when these establishments are closed, and you will see the little rats, the big rats that they can make rat burger with, running around these things. And I'm just saying, I'm just being normal, right? Back to the goat race because we don't want to stray. I think. As I said, 95%, there are a lot of external issues, and because we also had in the night too, I saw individuals picking up money at the gates where you're supposed to have a ticket booth, and the ticket booth supposed to pass through there, but we saw, because every year we had that issue where money is just mysteriously missed, and because of people picking up money and stuff, not doing it the right way. I know there was an influx of people. Oh Lord, the gates opened, the officers that said there was too many people, so you had to open. But some individuals really still wanted to pick up money. So I hope that the monies that were picked up, the monies that were picked up will go to the right, the amount that were picked up will go to the right channels, and we'll have a good account for it. I think they're supposed to have a village council meeting on Tuesday. I will be there to question and to be a part of that scrutinizing, and if I don't see anything, there's plenty of things that I want to say, but I just want to make sure and wait until that they do their synopsis and whatever, and if I don't agree with certain things, I will say what I'm supposed to say, and I'll bring it out to the public where it's supposed to be put out.
Very quickly, as we're wrapping up, what advice would you like to give to the village council for next year's?
Go back to your community, get your community fully involved, and we also need to deal with that cabal-led executive and put the community. It is Buku, Coral Gardens, and Environs. It's not just Buku and the cabal-led party group executive. We don't need that. We need that. We need to up the ante. The things that we would have made mistakes with, as we always make mistakes every year. There needs to also be a closer relationship with the THA. I don't know if they call it independence or what they call them. There needs to be a closer relationship and communication with them in regards to the pull and tug and stuff. So I think it's a relationship building work that we need to do, a relationship with our promoters, a relationship with the community, a relationship with all the media houses, everybody. There needs to be a closer relationship in taking the activity forward, because we are almost 99 years, 100. So what are we going to do spectacular? What are we going to do different? And I hope I'll be here this year or next year to share and to give my input and to be a part of that be a part of the team in sharing forward. So thank you very much for having me this morning.
Thank you so much.
And I hope I didn't cause any too much friction.
I'll leave that there. Very quickly, Alicia, Samuel is having a good laugh at your rat burger statement. Lidmoy Brebner Dillon says, yes, Rhea, depending on who does it determine right or wrong. Fix yourself before selling food. Tammy Samuel says, a level of compensation for non-compliance. I don't agree. Sergeant Alfred also spoke of closing down a bar because of non-compliance to the magistrate. And I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you so much, viewers on the live, for sharing your thoughts and your comments with us this morning. And Nikosi, thank you very much for being on the program with us this morning. I know it was late notice, but thank you so much for being with us.
Not a problem at all. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Tobago.
All right, and lots more coming up, and we're going to see a little bit more about what Candace has been up to this morning with her Out and About series as she chats with Kevin Edwards. And I'm not going to sell anything else out there, Candace. So we're going to be coming back to Candace just after the break. So viewers, it's your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Live more. October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. I am Candace Jackson and I am here on Turtle Beach, where we are enjoying a bit of one of those sports that really does belong on the beach, and that is beach volleyball. Now, we've seen some different sort of things going on here, and we have a very special person who has been making his name outside in the world, that has come back home to, share some of his experiences, some of his knowledge, some of his skills. And this is none other than Mr. Kevin Edwards from the Kevin Edwards Volleyball. Good morning and welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
First of all, tell me about yourself.
Well, grew up in Trinidad, Sangre Grande, East Trinidad, and got into volleyball relatively old compared to where kids get involved now. So about age 17, 18, I went to Northeastern College and I started playing for Trinidad and Tobago in the first ever junior national championship, which was held in Barbados in 1997. Things kind of just took off from there, and I just had that passion of learning, and I didn't realize after maybe like 5-6 years all the learning would come into practice, not just for me as a player but as a coach as well. And I kind of steered towards helping others, trying to make others better while I was still learning the game. So for me in general, growing up in a nice household, family oriented, volleyball team aspect kind of tied into that, because family, you stick together, you're stronger. Team sports, you stick together, you get even stronger too. So that kind of bond transferred from home life to sport life, and now I'm expanding it, as you say, to the world, and also trying to come back home and do something special as well too, like to get the community involved. And those are some things that with this opportunity, I'm hoping that if not this time when I'm here, maybe put things out there for the next time I'm here to get the community involved, like clinics for kids, adults, come out to the beach, see what we do and get involved in beach volleyball. Because I know especially on the Trinidad side, they have programs there that are actually geared to like representing the country as well. So I just want to continue to spread the word, spread the game, and just, it's a fun game in general. You get to live at the beach.
Certainly. And well, when you were out there studying and stuff, you made a name for yourself as a head coach.
Oh yeah. That worked out. It was like, I mean, a match made in heaven in a sense. I played in that system for a couple of years, way back in like 2008, 2009, and then had the opportunity maybe like 10 years later, exactly 10 years later, 2016, 17, to take over Buku College. Championship caliber teams, they probably racked off like maybe 7 championships in a row. When I took off, they had lost the 8th one. So the pressure was on me to get them back to those winning ways, and it only took us maybe 2 seasons, and then we went back to back. It was a long back-to-back because the pandemic came, stalled everything. So we won in 2019 and then went back in 2021 and we won. And everybody thought I would come back for the three-peat, but sometimes it's just good to go out on top. But I wanted to focus more on beach volleyball now. So after winning, I had a real talk with myself on what my goals were for short term and long term, and everything just steered me towards beach volleyball. I'm also finishing a sports science program with United States Sports Academy. I'm actually here and still working on my senior project at the same time. So my senior project is research, and it's also on volleyball. The importance of strength and conditioning, mobility, plyometrics, mental training, nutrition. So my paper is actually geared towards my work as well. So it's a holistic approach, and I enjoy every moment of it.
Now you're back home and you've been working at, imparting your skills and knowledge on some of our people here. So tell me about some of the clinics or the training and so on that you are doing in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right. So the first thing I do sometimes to bring more people to the island as a tourist type of thing, visitors coming to the island. So I always offer a camp during carnival time because people always like the festivities, they like the party. But then when we come to Tobago side, it's all about volleyball.
So it's cooled down with a difference.
Yes, it's cooled down with a difference. So everybody party hard, and yet still every night they still want to go out and hang out a little bit. But religiously, we out here at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. We back out here at 4 p.m. in the evening. So 2 sessions a day, we're doing that type of training. But as I say, in the future, we want to get the community. We want to get Tobago involved. I want to get my Trinidad colleagues to come out and be involved. Because I know on Turtle Beach in particular, if they do any tournaments, this is exactly where they host it. So I want to make it not just a thing with my people that I bring, but I want to make it a whole community and country thing in the future.
So what are some of the things that you see for beach volleyball in both Trinidad and Tobago, I would say?
Yeah. It's great. I was part of the program, right? So now I know that there are a lot of young kids coming up playing the game. And it's good that I had a chance to be one of those young kids back in those days, and then there were others before me. So creating more opportunities, like giving more resources, like some of my friends from the Trinidad side, they don't even know I'm in the country right now. So if they're looking at the news, the surprise probably broken. But the surprise is that I have a lot of equipment and uniform stuff to give out to some buddies with club teams in San Fernando, Trinidad, in Toco, Trinidad. So I'm going to be giving away a lot of equipment, a lot of balls to their clubs so they could give the kids more balls to play with. Uniforms, everybody always need uniforms. So every time I come home, I always try to bring in some resources that I have to just make the programs better here.
And do you think you'll be moving back home permanently, or is it something that you're going to continue going back and forth?
Right. I'm only 40 plus years, and the goal for me, honestly, retirement. Tobago is definitely number one choice, and to keep growing this as a tourism aspect as well. So like how I could leave New York and come here and do a camp, I could just be here and the campers come to me, local and abroad from all different parts of the world. So definitely the short-term and long-term goal for me is to definitely retire here. I was born in Trinidad, but I prefer to retire in Tobago and set up shop and bring more awareness to beach volleyball from all parts of the world. It's going to be volleyball is going to be in comparison with carnival, as I say. It's like, hey, carnival, volleyball. And now with this group, they're asking, hey, why we have to wait for carnival? Why don't we do it more than once per year? So people are just excited about the opportunity to be at the beach. And I'm lucky that I get to work in board shorts, tanked up every single day. Sun, sea is the best office.
Can't ask for anything better than that. Now, have you been able to connect with anyone here in terms of, just establishing beach volleyball in a more serious sense in Tobago?
Right. So in Tobago, no. This is the first opportunity I've had. And thanks to the host at High Seas, she set this up, and we were just talking just briefly about it, the experience and what I'm here and why I do what I do. And she made a call and made this happen, made this interview happen. So I'm very appreciative of that. So I'm hoping from this interview now I could find somebody in Tobago to talk to. I already know the person in charge of Trinidad and Tobago Volleyball Federation as a whole, but I'm not sure who does the volleyball or who is in charge in Tobago. So I'll definitely like to get that contact number at some point, or leave my contact for them to reach out to me, so when I'm back here again, we could do something together to make the awareness a little better.
And then when it comes to, why should people get involved in beach volleyball, especially right here in Tobago? Like, like, what are the potential, what are the opportunities that can be given to them?
Oh, that's a really, really good question. For the youth in particular, it's really important that they get involved in sports in general. It's just a health and wellness thing. Even for adults, it's just a different lifestyle. It's that, hey, you could learn something and you don't have to be great at it, but you're getting a little workout. Your health, your heart rate is going up every day, you're sweating a little bit, and you feel good about yourself. One of my participants in this camp is actually 53 years old. So there's no age limit. There's no age limit. Yes, you have to be physically able to move because the sand is a little, not forgiving, but it's a little tough to move in at times. But once you have that little physical ability and your limbs in good condition, you could take part in it. And it's also a fun sport whereby you depend on me and I depend on you. So I can't stand alone out there. It makes us communicate, a lot of communication. So it's not just a ball flying in the air. It looks like that from the average spectator, but it's a lot of communication, a lot of tactics, a lot of analytics. Everything goes into it once you're taking it to the next level. But back to the thought about the future and what kids could do with it. Beach volleyball is the fastest growing NCAA sport in the US right now. Every year there's more and more, especially for the females, more and more opportunities for scholarships to play beach volleyball. So if kids get involved at this young age and develop the skills necessary, the basic skills, and they could start taking their games to the next level, opportunities to go to school, to do your degree, and enjoy the sport you play, the opportunity is there. So that's one of the main things.
And certainly they could come back home and be on the beach.
And do exactly what I do, you know? So I always say never forget where you come from. Never, ever, ever forget where you come from.
All right, and most importantly now, how can people connect with you? And like, especially for those watching, those are interested in building out the sport here in Tobago.
Right. All right, so I have an Instagram account. I was never a big social media guy. I'm a guy you text me, call me, email me, all right? So my email is kevinedwards04@gmail.com, and my Instagram handle is @kev_vball, all right? So @KEV_vball, that's my Instagram handle, so that's an easy way to contact me, and I'll probably start posting some things after today.
Certainly. I mean, and so of course you want to reach out to some schools and stuff as well?
Yeah, definitely. The school programs are the best. That's the grassroots. Those are the future. They are the future. So definitely getting involved in grassroots. The middle, well, we would call them middle schools. We would call them, I tend to forget standard 1 through 5. But yeah, we call them middle school, junior varsity and varsity in the United States. But definitely they are the grassroots, they are the future. So I want to definitely get involved with kids and just bring them out to the beach, let them have some fun. Just kind of pick up something new, and if they like it, that's just the start of a new beginning for them.
Okay, great. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Edwards, for speaking with me and just sharing what you're doing, and hope that you can continue.
Oh yes, well I want to thank you guys for coming out at this short notice. It's a big surprise to me, but I'm happy that you guys came out. I'm happy that I get to share my part of my story and what I want to see happen with beach volleyball, not just in my country, but wherever I touch base, because it's from New York, it's all different countries coming together, and it's the same sport. So it's just having fun, growing, learning, and keeping it moving.
All right, thank you again so much. And viewers, if you're interested in beach volleyball, please get connected with Mr. Kevin Edwards. You won't regret it. I mean, we have the beach here, so why not? Why not make it a part of us? All right, so don't go anywhere because there's more coming up after the break.
It's time to go. Sweet like
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store now.
Yes, everyone, it's your boy Harry here from Authentic Builders. And this Saturday, the 18th, we will be having our massive construction day sale and customer giveaway. And on this day, we will also be launching our new menu, sale menu of Trinidad prices right here in Tobago on blocks, steel and lumber. And also having free giveaways for the kids. So come on down to Authentic Builders this Saturday, located right here at Old Storby Local Road.
Welcome to Authentic Builders.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. Never a dull moment on the set of Tobago Updates. At this time, we are talking about the Tobago Jazz Experience, the Tobago Jazz Festival 2023, and it's one-on-one with Positive. Joel Murray's on the program, and he's a gospel recording artist. Good morning and welcome to Joel Murray. Positive.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm blessed as always. Blessed.
Good to have you on with us. I think one of the last times I would have seen you would have been about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago for In His Presence.
Right, yes, that's correct.
All right, so I'm hoping that you were able to get some rest between then and now.
Definitely, yes. I'm just looking forward to, Jazz Fest, because I just strongly believe that, gospel music is like a needed entity within our society, and I'm just pleased that the biggest stage in Tobago actually recognizes the value of that gospel music carries. So I'm just excited.
And this is the first year that the Tobago Jazz Experience will be incorporating the gospel genre into the jazz festival. And you said that you're really happy that that they can recognize the importance of it. How do you feel about you being one of those persons who would be, amongst the lineup, amongst the cast of persons who would be the inaugural gospel jazz performances?
Well, definitely excitement is the word I could think about. Excitement is in the air. But, I feel extremely grateful, to be able to share the stage, with my brothers in the Lord and my sisters in the Lord, just to be able to, show forth, God's excellencies, just being able to capture a catalog of music that God has blessed me with for the past 14 to 15 years, with the release of Never Let Go in 2007, 2008. God has been extremely faithful to me. I have an amazing catalog of music, 4 albums that have received, awards, acclaim internationally, regionally. God has blessed me with a family, and it's just so much happening in my life that I just want to make sure that I'm able to show forth all of that blessing on that stage, just to make sure I have the best possible set. Yeah.
All right, and I know for you, it's not just about the music, but it's also about the message in your music. When we talk about Positive, tell our viewers this morning about the message in your music.
Well, I'm just a humble young man that was born and raised in John Dial, Tobago. And, having experienced loss at an early age, I really had to, depend on the Lord to really guide my way through life. And I remember when my sister died and my mom died, I had this song called Never Let Go. And that song really was a song to encourage me during times of depression and discouragement. And, God, His word says that, even when your mother and your father forsake you, the word says that the Lord Himself will take care of you. And I have been holding on to that word ever since. And I've seen where God has taken care of me. There was never a day, a week, a month, a year in my life that I didn't, see the hand of God being faithful in my life. And that's the type of heart and the type of message that my music comes from, being able to encourage people to have faith in God, to trust in Him, to lean not unto their own understanding, but in all their ways acknowledge Him, and He will surely direct the path.
All right. So, what can persons look forward to for 2023? Joel Murray on stage for the 2023 Tobago Jazz Festival or Tobago Jazz Experience. What can they expect from positive for this
Listen,
first gospel this first gospel aspect?
listen, but after just coming back from the Fiji Islands, Costa Rica, UK, St. Lucia, at Jazz Fest in Tobago, I just want to make sure and bring forth, my heart. I want to pour it all out on that stage. I want to make sure that I give God all the glory. I want to make sure that I impact the audience. I want to make sure that the message that I communicate, that it is timely, that it is rich with potential, with purpose, that would get into the hearts and the mind of people and show forth the level of excellence that God is looking for from each and every one of us. I want to make sure that I touch his soul. In that 25 minutes, I must have everything inside my heart for that event poured out on, in that space, in that place. And I can't wait to see you guys there. I'm just hoping to be a blessing in Jesus' name.
Right now, Positive, you are a local, let's say a son of the soil, but you've also experienced on being on stage regionally and internationally. What would be your thoughts on, what Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago offers as compared with the rest of the world? I want to get your thoughts on where we need, the direction that we need to go in. What is it that we're missing, or are we missing the beat? Is there more for us to do, or should we just be comfortable where we are?
Well, I mean, I don't encourage anybody to be comfortable where they are. There's always room for improvement in every sphere. I look at, my trajectory through music, and there are so many other talented people, within Tobago and within Trinidad and Tobago that has a tremendous gift. And I just believe that, if we could give a little more attention, pay a little bit more, respect to the arts sector, I believe that, we are filled with so much talent and so much creativity that the transition of an era is happening right now where music is exploding across the globe. And if it is that, we could, raise up a crop of artists that will have, a positive impact within our communities, within our diaspora, I believe that what we have is enough to touch the world, to touch the entire globe. I see, so many young artists coming out of Tobago. I remember I was looking at Xavier Edwards and Chantal Lindsay and so much talent. And I'm saying, if it is that as a nation, as a people, if we could rally around and support the arts sector that is uplifting, not just gravitate to the wine and jam or gravitate to the lewd music, but something that would really, touch the soul, raise our children. We want to raise leaders, and that is what investing in positive music is about, is being able to inspire young people. I have children, I have 3 children, and I don't want my children to grow up not even understanding the value of life because it's been, degraded through derogatory music, So I want to make sure that what I do, what I bring forth to the table will help to shape the generation that comes after me.
All right, and I'm really thankful for that. So we want to wish you all the best for this year, for the 2023 Tobago Jazz Experience. But before you go, you can't come on set with us and not give us a taste of what to expect. I don't know which, because you write your own music, and there's always, again, that message in your music. And I'm sure you've been asked, out of all that you've written, is there a favorite song? Is there a favorite message? I don't know if you do. It's almost like having, again, 3 children, and you have to choose your favorite amongst them. So is there one that, one song that you hold near and dear to your heart?
I mean, there's too many to count, but maybe one possible song could be like Two Man Army, Rolling in my 2-man army, it's my Jesus and I know one Scott goes before me, yeah. They can't stop this right now. Rolling in my 2-man army. Oh, my Jesus and I, yeah. I know one Scott goes before me. They can't stop this ride. I can't wait to be there, Josh says. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See, the lyrics for that I do know, and that one I'm a chip to. Yeah, I was
Yes,
Julian.
ma'am.
We're here. I was Julian. We're here. Julian, I'm missing you this morning, but thank you so much, Joel Maury, for being on the program, aka Positive. Continue to do what you do and continue to put God first. We want to thank you for being with us this morning, and all the best to you for 2023 Tobago Jazz Experience.
Thank you. Blessings. Have a blessed day.
You too. All right, viewers, I almost got my groove on there. If I had a mic, I would have been singing. I'd have been backing him up. All right, but thank you so much for joining us today. We want to thank all of you who joined us this morning on M&E TV, Gael, YouTube, Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us on the live. We always appreciate you, and we are, again, number one because of you, our viewers, and we thank you so much for joining us. We trust that you have a great day. I understand that there's still crop over happening down at Buku, just putting it out there, and I heard from a really reliable source that crop over is still happening in Buku. So for those of you who missed it a couple days ago, this could be a chance. All right, so thank you again. Have a great day, Tobago. We are heading over into GMT with Chanel Felix, so don't you move from there. Just continue to share the live, share the live, share the live. Have a great day.
The house is like 2 bedrooms, a toilet, the room, kitchen. The size is like 11 by 10, bathroom like normal concept. Have a living room, full dining room here. I see completion of this building, so it will be about 2 weeks time max. We're doing a cladding on the outside, the inside is a fire rating board, gypsum ceiling, right? And well, normal tiles and stuff on the ground.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
I never made a fortune.
One Accord SDA Church presents Money Management Workshop. Free. April 16th at 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Canaan Bonaccord Community Center. Come learn how to flex and stretch your dollar. How to get more from your same salary or less. Learn stress-free bill payment. Refreshments will be served. Hampers for being on time. Some tools to last a lifetime. One Accord SDA Church Money Management Workshop. April 16th at 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Canaan Bonaccord Community Center.
On Sunday, April 23rd, the parade grounds at the Dwight York Stadium will transform for International Night, featuring Grammy Award winners, Boys to Men, and Cuffy.
Where will we go?
Also gracing the stage, Vanette Bigford, Saron Shaw, Tony Paul, Sharon Phillips, and much more. Get your tickets now. Check the Tobago Festivals Commission's website at www.tobagofestivalscommission.com for more, or call them at 639-4441. Come, enjoy Tobago Jazz Experience 2023, The Return, much more than music.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong.
Morning, good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, good morning, and you know whenever you see me here, we're having those conversations that you want to have to get your day started and asking those questions that you want to know. Now, this morning, we're going to be chatting a bit with Pastor Clive Dutton, and he is the pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and we're going to be talking about getting a grip on crime in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, we know recently we heard of the second recorded murder on the island of Tobago for the year 2023, and so we're going to be talking about this and a number of other things. So to get this morning's conversation started, we have online with us this morning Pastor Clive Dutton. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, my dear. Well, I'm fighting. If I just give you a little idea, my day yesterday, I went to a town meeting in Philly City, traveling from work. Then I went Marabella, around 9. Then I went home, that is grieving. One of our top singing evangelists died. All right, he got a stroke. He was not yet 60. So I went to comfort the grieving. Then I had to go Maracas Valley. And from Maracas Valley, end up in Diego Martin around 12. And that was my day. And I am happy to be of service to the country. And I want to tell people that with all the crime and violence, never give up hope. Because that is where the evil forces want to bring us, that we must give up hope. And, I looked at positive just now on the program just before. I looked at positive. And I have said this over and over. We have not used our talented artists to commit a drug-free message and a crime-free message. And I hope one day, on the media or 1 week, that's all we do. Commit positive, optimistic, high expectation messages via music and via the arts and via drama. That, to my mind, is what could be the trigger for any other initiatives, strategic initiatives that we would take in the battle against crime.
Excellent. And as you have gone into the whole idea of the impact of arts, drama, and music on the mentality of the young persons in Trinidad and Tobago,
Sure.
in Tobago
Sure.
here, the hot topic this morning has been that Buku goat race and the chosen artist that was used to entertain the persons at that Buku goat race and crab race festival on Tuesday night. And we had the artist Temper, who is one of those, I guess, Trini dancehall artists whose musical content is not necessarily appropriate for any child to listen to, and they had her there, and she was the entertainment. And there was still a number of kids that was at the show during that time. And so there's a big debate happening on the island of the appropriateness, and when hosting events that are deemed to be family friendly, who are the persons that are being chosen to entertain these young persons? And do the people who are selecting the entertainers understand the impact that this type of music has on the mentality of the young persons? And when I'm talking about young persons, I mean children as small as 5 years old, or even younger, were in the crowd and singing along, and all the expletives were being sung during that time. And it feeds into what you're saying, but what are you thinking should be done to eradicate this type of things from happening? Because we see even at the big events, they're still hiring persons that are singing the type of music that goes against what we're preaching when we talk about youth development and youth walking on the straight and narrow.
Well, hold there. You said youth development. That is not development, that is youth destruction. And what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago right now, with all due respect to people like Archbishop Gordon and a few others who say we mustn't keep focusing on negative stuff. But when negative stuff is being brought to the minds of the young people, then we have to cry out. I was in the Caribbean island, St. Vincent, and there was a girl who got chopped. And I remember this well. I met her. I made a big issue out of it in the community festival, Health and Happiness Festival we were having. And she said, Pastor, when things like this happen, we cry out. I say, keep crying out. Because in Trinidad and Tobago, the mafia is attempting to silence us and take over the country. And I am saying that right now. The group of folks who are literally in charge of bringing in cocaine. We don't plant cocaine here, all right? And we don't manufacture guns here. So people are importing it and they're allowed. And by the way, let me tell you something, sister. I hope it doesn't happen to this extent in Tobago. But we have protected assassins, you know. We have career assassins. You have fellas saying they'll be assassins until they die, all right? And in the meanwhile, they will live it up, eat, drink, but tomorrow you may die. But let me come back to the issue of culture. It is sickening. It has to be psychotic people who foist, who hurl, who market people with no kind of values or no morality whatsoever, use expletives in a time when youth are in crisis, youth in gangs, youth being trained in underground academies in Trinidad to shoot and to kill and to maim, youth enlisted in some form or some career in drug dealing, either as a bodyguard or as a watchman to tell when the police coming, or as a courier carrying the drugs. And you will tell me, you two growing up in parentless homes, you two growing up in godless homes, you two growing up in loveless homes, and you will tell me, at this time of a crisis, when we should be fighting for a turning point, when all hands should be on board in the fight against crime, when we should form neighborhood watch groups, when we should flood the schools with positivity, all the fellows like positive, and all those who have a message of faith in God, flooding the schools, retirees, going out there and helping principals who are battling with criminality in the secondary schools. And you'll tell me that kind of supercalifragilistic rubbish we are pushing, all right? And by the way, clapping, I saw something with the Dalai Lama when he told the boy, suck my tongue. I mean, as raw and as crass as that songs. People were laughing like it was a big joke in the temple. And I condemned that. I felt he should be in jail. I have told the media in Trinidad that.
I think it was a manifestation of the things that people have been saying for a number of years that happens with persons like the Dalai Lama and a number of priests, within the religious sector. So it was just a public manifestation of what has been said for a long time. So I don't think it was really deemed a joke. I just think it was persons finally saying, okay, this is it being publicly manifested. We spoke about this. We saw this happening. We heard of it. And now this is you guys seeing it for yourself, basically.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, this was just horrible. Because when I saw what he told the guy and chuckles emanated from the immediate audience, I mean, that has to be rotten. That shows you the standard to which, and somebody said, if he could dare to say those things in public, what is happening and has been happening behind the scenes? And let me say a word about religious leaders. No religious leader could afford to be involved in drugs and guns and criminality. And sad to say, all right, you have all kinds of allegations being made about people who claim to be religious, who heavily involved in criminality. And the best person to deal with that is people like myself, in terms of, because I'm a religious leader too, and I don't believe in cover up. And we have got to come straight. I mean, let me tell you something. I think the majority of the population is the home invasions in Trinidad that has brought us alive, to tell us how close we are. And in Trinidad, you don't have to be involved in anything to be shot and killed, People that, daily, Cantoni Lee says on 95.5, people just have to want to kill somebody sometimes, and that happens. Yes, they have the gang rivalry. Yes, they have, and let me deal with the drug trade right away. The Inter-American Development Bank has said, all right, a couple of years ago, that the underground trade, casino gambling in all its forms, and the drug trade is worth 1/3 of our gross domestic product, the GDP. If the GDP is about $150 billion, your national budget is 50 billion. It means 1/3 of 150 billion is approximately 50 billion, which means that we have grown dependent on the illegal gains from the drug trade. We have casinos, the greatest money laundering machines you have in the world happen to be casinos, if you please. Remember, Dina Sital was killed after coming from a casino, and apparently there was a gambling addiction there. So I am saying we have got to be strong. Now is the time to pull together. Now is the time to look out for each other. Now is the time to call the government to account. All right, we cannot have this level of criminality and it taking long to make a comment and bring hope to the citizens. We have about rogue elements in the protective services, police, prison, army, what have you there. That has got to be dealt with. When we put leaders there, we must call them to account. Yes, the citizens have a role to play. Yes, we mustn't be soft targets. I heard former Senior Superintendent Johnny Abraham, talk about that last night. I was in a tongue meeting in central Trinidad. Yes, but there's a responsibility for leadership. Let me tell you something. Government has a role to play in terms of making the citizens feel safe and have hope and trust. All right, and trust is decreasing faster than Usain Bolt could run 100 meters. And the church has a role to play. Let me tell you something. We in the church must get out of the four walls and get into the community in a more dynamic and positive and aggressive manner. I say aggressive, all right, because we have young people to save. You know, we have to look at our schools.
To
we
talk
have to look
about
at
the role
yes.
of church in the community and community engagement to help eradicate crime. We see, as my colleague would have said earlier this morning, before we thought that when crime happens on the island of Tobago, that it was only a result of outsiders coming in and committing crimes, but more and more we get to see that even our own Tobagonians on the island here are being involved in criminal activities. How have you been working with the SDA Church or any other organizations here on the island of Tobago to help working with young persons and to help eradicate crime?
Well, I want to tell you, the Tobago Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I take the lead from, Tobago now is, should I say, independent in the sense that they have a mission. Formerly, they wanted the South Caribbean Conference. Now they have a mission because you have leaders and you have institutions, that are very significant. The credit union, you have the secondary school, you have the primary schools all over Tobago. You have the community services that is one of the most dynamic in the entire Caribbean. And you have the youth groups, the Pathfinders, for example, that we see as a proactive, preventative institution to enlist young people. And then we had a group called Friends Forever. We're in the process of reviving that, which deals particularly with the issue of drug addiction. And pretty soon, we are going to develop a Life Hope Center in Tobago. In addition to all the institutions, we have the school feeding program, all right, the men's ministry in a particular way to save men. All of that is on the table. And I'm saying that even though we have church initiatives for one religion, we could unite with other religious groups, because what this calls is for cross-border relationships in the society. And I think Tobago has no shortage of leadership. I know some of us in Trinidad would like to think so, but that is not so at all. You have a lot of talented leaders that I have found, including youth leaders, in the heart, in the belly of Tobago. And I'm saying that all of us have to not only be concerned about what we are doing individually, but combine with other religious groups and other NGOs, to ensure that what is happening in Trinidad, people in Trinidad say that where we are right now, it was 10 years ago, it will never happen. But we went to sleep. But the criminals were up. All right, the criminals don't sleep. They are strategizing. They are planning. They have recruited the best young people from our secondary schools. The gang violence in Trinidad and to a small extent in Tobago, in some of our secondary schools, didn't happen overnight. I'll give you an example. And I'm going to Trinidad right now. There was a principal. I do about 14 graduations, all right, in Trinidad and Tobago every year, most of them secondary schools. And I went to a school a few months ago for a graduation, and the principal, we call him Principal A, told me that he was not aware he had gangs in the school, a gang in the school. And they recruited. I said, but how you found out? He said, Principal A called me, Principal B, and told me his junior drug dealer in his school. So there's a junior drug dealer and there's a community senior leader who is in charge of recruiting young people in secondary schools. He says Principal B called him and told him that his junior drug dealer is, all right, watch this, is recruiting young people from secondary schools, including his school. And he said then he proved it was true. And when I went to that school, it's a large school. They barely had 40 people graduating. And there was a kind of a pallor of, discouragement over that ceremony. So, and by the way, they had gang violence before, but he didn't know that guys were recruited to push drugs and criminality in his school. He didn't know, he wasn't alert. And I call upon principals to be very alert. Don't say it can't happen in your school. Because I have been to schools, amazingly, I have been to schools where individuals, Lord have mercy, all right, have been recruited and they challenge the hierarchy of the school. In some of our secondary schools, the principal has to be behind bars. Their office is like a jail cell. That is how serious it is. So that we have to be up and alert. And parents, let me tell you something. It's not your neighbor to mind your child or the grandparents. Let the grandparents enjoy their retirement. I want to tell parents this morning, God gave you those children. They are a gift from God to you. And you have to manage. You have to know where your child is. And by the way, make sure your child is in school. Because there are children in Trinidad leaving school in uniform, leaving home in uniform, and not attending school. I went to a particular school, and this will shock the population. And I saw a Form 5 boy by the gate in the East-West corridor. And the social worker brought me in there to show me what was happening. And the guy turned up. And she told me that is a guy turning up. He's in charge of drugs in the school. And there are people who owe him money. He's coming to collect this morning. I said, well, how you can come to collect? I mean, you have security here. That guy should have no part until that issue of his drug dealing is dealt with. And he came in uniform and he didn't come inside the school. So they have to go by the gate and pay him. I said, that should not be allowed. And the discipline of that school had broken down. That was one of the best secondary schools we had in the East-West corridor. And the discipline had broken down completely. And by the way, don't take for granted it's not happening in your school or in your church or in your youth group or in your sporting organization. The time has come for us to be alert. The time has come for us to take drastic action on these things. And the government has to do better. They have to do better. Don't go to sleep now on the population. The population needs you now more than ever. Parents don't go to sleep. I have parents coming to me and telling me what is going on and what oh Lord God have mercy. They are living in jail and the prison commissioner is the boy and the girl in charge of the parents, have them locked up in their own homes and they can't say a word, otherwise they are beaten by their own children. And sometimes the police take very long to respond to these things. They say it's a family issue, or they handle that.
Right. Pastor Dutton, interesting as the conversation evolves. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and continue with this. Guys,
Sure.
see you right after the break.
Start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong.
Geld in die eigene
Sweet like
Tobago, here's the real deal. Nothing sweeter than when your internet fast all day, every day. I telling you, it's real nice when your home internet and TV package fit your budget. Well, if that's what you want, you're safe with Digicel Plus. Sign up or switch to Digicel Plus now and pay $0 for 1 month. Plus, plans start as low as $199 and you get installed for free. Visit DigicelTT.com or a Digicel store now.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Made a fortune. Concordia SDA Church presents Money Management Workshop. Free. April 16th at 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Canaan Bonaccord Community Center. Come learn how to flex and stretch your dollar. How to get more from your same salary or less. Learn stress-free bill payment. Refreshments will be served. Hampers for being on time. Some tools to last a lifetime. Concordia SDA Church Money Management Workshop. April 16th at 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Canaan Bonaccord Community Center.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. And guys, we've been talking to Pastor Dutton, who is one of the pastors of the SDA Church, and we've been talking about crime and violence in Trinidad and Tobago, and he has been doing a lot of work with young people throughout Trinidad and Tobago, specifically in Trinidad, and he's been chatting a lot about what has been happening in the schools and in the communities. And Pastor Dutton, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for staying with us. And so before the break, you were talking about gang violence in the schools and how many principals that you have interacted with did not even know that gang violence was happening in their schools. And I also asked you about what you were doing in relation to Tobago, what's happening in Tobago. And you said that Tobago should not take it for granted that this type of things can also happen over here, although the SDA Church is a bit independent on this side. What are some of the projects that you're currently working on, community-based projects?
Okay, we are working hard with Vishnu Prasad, who is the Tobago president, to enter what we call unentered areas that and sometimes areas that are impoverished. I should tell you, the church, Tobago, will be the 5th country in the region that will establish Life Hope Centers. Life Hope Centers are crisis counseling centers. I could tell you, when I talk about there's no dearth of leadership in Tobago, I regard Vishnu leadership as a classical, proactive, very relevant leader who is very strategic. And another guy that I think you all should know very well is Wilfred Devines. He's my public affairs and religious liberty director. So he looks at the issue of community challenges. So I have worked very closely with him, not just in some of the schools, but in some of the communities. And there are 2 major projects about to take place in Tobago, and you'll hear a lot more about it. We're going to roll it out in about 2 months' time. I should tell you, we have just secured international funding for them. And as I said, the church already has institutions. We have to broaden the base and do more penetrative community work, and certainly revive what we had started before under Job Group Friends Forever is about to be revived. So in the next couple of months, you'll hear a lot in terms of the church. Of course, we are the Caribbean Union Conference that in charge of the Eastern Caribbean from the Virgin Islands down to Suriname and Guyana and all the islands in between. We empower leadership to make a difference in their communities. We don't try to come in to do the work, but if we're asked, we will come in. My area of specialization is the issue of formation of support groups for the employed, support groups for young people who have strayed, what we call, in the land of prodigalia, and would like to come back in mainstream society. The issue of family life enrichment programs, the issue of proper parenting to meet the 21st century challenges, all those that we're involved in. But the Life Hope Center will be a strategic initiative soon to be launched in Tobago, along with entering areas. All right, we have already, and I don't want to give out the information before the Tobago leadership, we have identified an area that is impoverished that we want to go in and adopt the entire community. All right, and we are now doing what is called need analysis in that particular area, and that will be a pilot project for the rest of in-need communities in Tobago. This is the 5th country we are entering, by the way. I just came from India, and I went to assess the Life Hope centers in northern India, along with a global team. My team had people from South Africa and Zambia and India and China and Brazil and North America and Europe. Okay, there were 12 of us, and we had to assess the Life Hope centers. So we want to start also in Tobago very shortly.
So, Dalton, how can persons get involved with the work that you're doing or even support the work that you're doing?
Okay, I would say, call Wilfred Devines at the Tobago Mission. I don't have the number offhand, but he could always pass it to you and to the update here and get on to him. And if you want to be involved, if you want to, provide resources, financial or personal resources, that would not be a problem. We'd be happy. It's cross-cultural. It's no religious barriers, no political party barriers, hopefully, you know what I mean? And they all who want to get involved. We have started a program called Adopt a Troubled Youth. We are doing that across the Caribbean. We have started a group that I want to start in Tobago big time, and I'm discussing with Wilfred Devines, all right, who I said is the Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Director. It's a group that reaches out to endangered youth who involve in illicit activities and would like to come out and be part of mainstream activity. Now the bridge there, you'd always have a bridger between youth in prodigalia who involve in criminal stuff, all right, and coming over to mainstream society. So now mainstream society doesn't accept the troubled youth, the youth in gangs, all right. I recall I had to deal with a girl. Her parents had totally rejected her. She was a bandit and totally rejected. They wanted to have nothing to do with her. And the bandit told her one day, you know too much, you could be shot and killed. And I walked into a church a Saturday evening and lo and behold, she walked into the church. A young man from the church invited her. And I got on to her uncle, and her uncle accepted her. And she's back doing well in mainstream society. So now it takes a phone call. Now it takes a visit to her home. And you start the problem solving strategy. And I'm saying to parents, don't give up. And so that's a lot of young people, they don't know what love is all about. All right. And they are influenced by some very negative elements. And by the way, I should tell you, my dear, you have parents who are involved in criminality. In fact, there's a guy who got shot in Arima, and he's the 3rd generation that was involved in heavy stuff. And so now you have grandparents involved in criminality, parents and grandchildren involved in criminality. It will shock you. There's some 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds who could use a gun like any adult and who could cut cocaine like a 35-year-old man. All right, so that I am saying the gang leaders have done a better job of recruiting young people than the church, than the politicians, than business. All right, and parents, they have done a better job at it. And we must stop losing and start to win the battle. Start with one, adopt one, start with one.
If persons want to get into connection, or if they want to join the work that you guys are doing, or even donate, and his number is 759-3386. That's 759-3386. If you guys want to get involved.
Number. Yes, sure. I recall it now. Yes.
So when it comes to some of the school projects that you guys are doing, because we see a new term is coming up, let the people know some of the school projects that you guys would be working on and how Tobago can get involved with that, even the Tobago House of Assembly, how they can also reach out and get involved with a
Well, we
lot of the
have a
work that's being done in the school.
Yes, we have a drug prevention program and we have motivational workshops. And if you want, you can call that same number, Brother Devines. And there's a program we have called Youth Alive. It's a sensational program to engage young people. But we'll have to have training with the teachers, and the House of Assembly will have to give us the necessary approval to get into the schools. But we'll be happy to do it. I'm telling you, we're going to do a whole national rollout in a short while, but we'll be happy to do it. And we really want to see the French Rebel group revived that deals with addiction and depressed youth. All right. So we want to offer those two things, the French Rebel program and
You guys,
also.
what type of support do you think is needed for this to really be successful, especially in the Tobago context?
We would need an army of volunteers. We need about an army of about 25 volunteers. You understand? They don't have to be just Seventh-day Adventists. Could be anybody. There are a lot of people in Trinidad and Tobago who are willing to be used, and they're not being used, enlisted. All right. So we have to have a. Now, I should tell you, one of the things I want to mention is fear. And Trevor Joseph told me that last night in the meeting in the town meeting in Felicity. Fear is crippling a lot of volunteers, but we have to encourage them. You see, if we have a group, people feel safer. You know, they're not alone. Then they won't become a soft target. When you build a part of a group and people are looking up each other, that's the beauty with the neighborhood watch group. It's not a solo affair. You're not in a silo, but you're part of a team. And it's harder to deal with a team and eliminate a team than if you have to eliminate one person. All right. So that I want to emphasize that. And I think the fear is beginning to come into Tobago too, because with with murders taking place, and then you realize it's homegrown boys, not just folks from Trinidad or outside of the Caribbean, but it's homegrown boys getting involved and being captivated by the possibility of getting rich overnight. And that's what the drug trade is all about. That's what gambling is all about. And you end up losing more than you had before. So that I want to say that once you want to get involved, call that number that was given to you just now, and we'd be happy to enlist you in the program.
Right, excellent. And before you wrap up this morning, is there any messages that you want to send to the people of Tobago and just a wider viewing audience?
Sure. What I want to say to you is this, all right? And I want, Benjamin Disraeli says you must nurture your mind with great thoughts because you never rise higher than the level of your thinking. Let me repeat that. Nurture your mind with great thoughts because you never rise higher than the level of your thinking. Parents, I want to caution you this morning. Don't give up on your child. All right, keep at him or her. If even you know they're involved in smoking or drinking or illicit underground activities, don't give up on your child. Monitor your child. Pay surprise visits in the school. Don't tell them when you're coming. Just announce. Don't announce it. Just turn up there. Keep in touch with the teachers. Keep in touch with the pastors. Keep in touch with the politicians. All right. Keep in touch with everybody. Build a network of proactive, positive people around your child.
Excellent. And thank you so much, Pastor Dustin,
God bless
for that.
you.
Thank you for
God
taking
bless
the
you,
time
my
out to join us here on Tobago Updates and sharing everything that you've been doing in the community in regards to trying to eradicate crime by targeting young persons, especially through education, mentorship, motivation. Guys, we're going to take a break and we'll be back right after this.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the sky.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and low, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and low. This is this is your show.
Tapicom. Welcome to the future. The only card you will need in a new world. Digital business cards. Safe, hassle-free. The future is here. Tapicom. New generation digital transfer. Digital time clock cards. Digital attendance cards. Air tags. Customized designs. Digital clothing tags. Digital pet tags. Tapicom. The future is here. Contact us today.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, if you're just joining us, then you missed a really interesting conversation. You should definitely go back and watch my conversation with Pastor Dutton. Guys, after so many requests coming in about that interview that was done by Candace on the Concordia estate, we are bringing it to you again this morning. So we're going to go straight to Candace on that Concordia estate. Over to you, Candace.
I'm Candace Jackson and you are watching Out and About with me. We are here at the Concordia Estate for a wonderful experience. So the Concordia Estate, I would think it's a little known secret right here in Tobago, just on the way to Mason Hall. And why it's a little known secret? Well, it has such a huge historical value. There's a lot of artifacts and so on here. So we're going to get into it, but first let me introduce you to the manager of Concordia Estates, none other than Mr. Leroy George. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candice. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago Updates. Such a pleasure having you guys with us here today.
Now, as I mentioned, this Concordia Estate is something that has huge historical value. So could you give me a brief history about the estate itself?
Certainly, Concordia Estate is one of the oldest estates in Tobago. We know that for a couple of reasons, right? There has been research done by a university in the United Kingdom, which shows you all the different owners of the original estate, which would have been Barbados Bay number 16 and Barbados Bay number 26 when it was sectioned off back in the 1700s and 70s. But even before that, you will see in the research that even before that it was an estate. Most of the estates in Tobago would have started around the 1776 era and just after that as a result of the end of the Anglo-French War. Another one of the reasons, besides the research that was done by that university, why we know that it was an older estate, if you look right behind us right there, you notice this salmon tree right here. Even behind us here, you have a salmon tree here, this salmon tree over here, etc., they're all located in such a way that we know that they were planted intentionally, right?
And then there was some research that was done about the age of the trees themselves.
Yes, there was some research about the age of the trees, and we understand the trees to be well over 300 years old. And so that's why we know this is one of the two reasons we know this is one of the oldest estates in Tobago.
So what were some of the things that were produced here? What made up the plantation?
Well, back in the days of slavery, obviously they would have been processing a lot of sugar cane, turning it into sugar, right? It appears as though this was one of the more advanced estates. The reason being, when you look at the estates where you see the windmill being the means whereby they would squeeze the juice out of the sugar cane, you know, that was like not quite the bottom line or the lowest level of plantation, but it wasn't quite as highly esteemed as, say, an estate like this one, where the water wheel, which you'll see a little bit later on today, is actually a water wheel in contrast to wind turbine.
Yes, and as you mentioned water wheel, you know, a lot of people here in Tobago think that we only really have two water wheels, and that is Annisvale and Speyside, but the truth is there's actually quite a lot of water wheels hidden all around in Tobago, and this is just one of them.
Yeah, I know of about 11 of them also, and this is just one of them. Not one of the best preserved, but not one of the worst preserved either.
Right. Now, so what became of the estate after the days of slavery, after the plantation and so on?
Well, we actually have a ledger right here on the estate. We have a small museum, right? And we actually have the original ledger, and what it tells you, there isn't a lot that is said in that ledger between 1838, when slavery ended, right up until 1950, because the ledger starts from 1950. And what we see from 1950 is that in the 1950s there was a lot of cattle farming here at Concordia Estate. We imported a lot of cattle from India, especially in this area. However, when you look at the ledger, you see that after Hurricane Flora 1963 era, there wasn't so much of that cattle farming taking place, right? What we see happening more at that point is that you had the cocoa and the coffee being processed here. And this building right behind us right here was the original. If you look at it, you'd see the first half, there's a lower roof than the front half. Where the lower roof is, that was the original cocoa house. It's built in such a way, and we were able to maintain that part of it, whereby the roof could slide on and off at any point. So the people who would have been working here, they don't have to carry in, whenever rain started to fall, rush to carry in all the cocoa and coffee, etc. And so they were doing cocoa and coffee, but we see between 1963 to about 1970. After 1970, however, we see a ledger that was made out in order to gain a loan from Barclays Bank, and in that ledger they went into details about quite a few things that went wrong here. If you were to look up in this tree here long enough, you're going to see some squirrels. Apparently there were a lot more of those squirrels at that time, and the squirrels were devastating the plantation.
Right.
Also, there was a bit of a disease that was affecting the cocoa negatively. You'd notice this big excavator here. Back then they would have liked to have this excavator. The reason for that being, the land here, the geology of the land here is such that the rock, there's always landslides, long story short.
Right.
And as a result of that, they needed a loan. So anyway, around the 1970s, that is when the agriculture would have had a big decline in the area. As a result of that, quite a few owners from that time to now started to experiment with agrotourism, and we're doing the same thing here today.
And now, so you all have transformed this into a place where people can come and visit. And we're going to take you to some of those places that we mentioned, especially the water wheel. We're going to get on the ATV and we're going to go down. So stick with me. Well, viewers, the way to get down to this water wheel is on the ATV. And let me tell you something, this trail is absolutely amazing. So let me just get this all switched off here, right? And take off my helmet, and we're going to show you the water wheel and some more, not just the water wheel, there's actually quite a lot here of ruins that are still intact. So if you want to have a little information about, you know, just what some of these places used to look like sometimes, you're going to find it really soon. Right, Leroy?
Candice, you reach?
Yes, I reach. So we're going towards the water wheel now, right?
Yep, we are just about 20 meters, 10 meters even, away from the water wheel. Let's come inside and see what it's all about.
So what is this right here? Is this like, what is the structure?
So this structure here, we have the belief, right, based on the research that we've seen, that coming down to the last couple of days, or years rather, of slavery, this area would have been built. And the reason why we come to that conclusion is that the infrastructure, it kind of requires more male slaves, and we saw that there was a sale of some female slaves and an import of some male slaves around that time, right? 1830s about. See this water wheel right here?
That's one of the gears from the water wheel.
This is the main gear from the water wheel, right? So when the water from the river turned the water wheel, this gear would turn. And then they would attach to it a smaller gear, right? Now imagine if this gear is turning slowly, because obviously the water isn't rushing that fast. Let's say it's turning like 5 times per minute, right? You put a wheel about half the size of that with the same size gears, and what happens? It spins twice as fast. And then eventually you have 3 big rollers that would have been here in times past, and persons would have stood right here, feed the sugar cane into the rollers, and then the juice would run out right here, and then we'd go over to this area here.
Right, and then just before, you know, I know viewers wanted to see the wheel itself, so let's give them just a little look at the wheel. So right here you have the wheel still quite intact. The only thing missing are the little louvers, or the eaves from the wheel that, you know, would capture the water to keep the wheel turning as the water flow out. So this is quite remarkable. It's not as big as some of the other water wheels that we have here in Tobago, but it is still quite remarkable that this is here still intact. So Leroy, as we're walking over to the next area, tell me what we're about to see.
What you're about to see is that area which part the juice, the cane juice, would have been, after it comes out from the water wheel there, they'll bring it over into this area, and this is where they will boil that cane juice. And when boiling the cane juice, first it will turn into kind of coagulated mixture of solid and liquid, and eventually you have that brown sugar that we are accustomed to today, right?
Wow, and so we're upon another structure here, and this is what?
This is the structure where the boiling was taking place. This is the piece of infrastructure where boiling would take place.
Wow.
So you'd have the pots in areas like here, and on the other side of this large wall here, you would see which part you had some little mini ovens that would be used in order to have that boiling process take place.
So in other words,
here's an example of one right here.
It holds like this, and I know the camera's going to come pretty soon, but it holds like this. What you do, you take wood, firewood, stick it in and light it, and then that's how they boiled the sugar.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Boil the juice and turn it into sugar.
Yes. Wow, this is absolutely, this is viewers, I'm not sure if you're really getting this on camera, right? And this is perhaps why you need to actually come and see it and experience it for yourself, because we can only give you a little taste, but this is quite a huge structure here in the middle of the bush. All right, but there's more to see, so we're going across to where
the dam, just where, as you'd imagine, a river doesn't always provide the kind of pressure necessary in order to keep that big water wheel spinning. And so you need a dam so that you could store that water. So when you're ready to use the water wheel, you just open the dam. You're going to see where the dam would open and where all the water would rush out.
All right, viewers, so I just came down this really massive hill where some gardening, some ventures into gardening is happening. But it's just all part of the experience when you come here. So naturally, if you're coming here, make sure you walk with good shoes and long pants, because you're in the bush, right? So we're going down to the dam that Leroy just spoke about. And Leroy, so can you give us just give us an idea?
Once you come off the ATV trail,
yes,
right, we also do carriage rides too. Once you come off that same trail, pass through the garden that Candice just spoke about, you reach the river here. About 100 meters, maybe a little more than 100 meters. That's where we're going to see the dam that fed the water wheel. Candice, the good news is that the hard part of the journey has been completed, at least on the way to the dam. And so here we are at the dam that fed the water wheel, that squeezed the sugar cane.
Wow. So we are here at the dam. And it is crazy that this structure exists.
Well
here.
kept, isn't it?
Yes,
It
for
is
real.
well kept.
Wow.
And you see that little doorway there? There would have been a door for want of a better reason, wording rather. Of course it was watertight at that time, and you'd block off the water. And so on the other side, which you could see if you want to see the other side also, on the other side, the water would pile up there. And just when they're ready to squeeze that sugar cane and get the juices out, they'd open it up. And there'd be such a rush of water. As you could see, the water is even now, after hundreds of years, well, 180, 90 years of no longer being in use in any major way since the end of slavery. Even now, you could see the water rushing a little more than you would see in other places.
So does this always flow?
All the time. Because even though the door is open, the wall itself creates an area that is so much smaller than the overall width of the river. That water is always piling on the other end faster than it's coming through. So this particular area, there's no other part of the river where you're guaranteed to see water all the time. This is the area where water will always be, and on the other side of it also.
And then the sound of the water falling, there's something about it that's just so relaxing.
Isn't it, right?
But I mean, what is amazing, like I said earlier, is just being able to construct this, build this here in basically the middle of nowhere. I mean, what it would have taken for, you know, the people, the slaves at that time, to be able to construct this. It is quite remarkable. And well, viewers, you know, I mean, first of all, thank you, Leroy, for showing us, just giving us this tour and giving you, the viewers, just a quick little look at what exists in Concordia. I know many of you did not even dream of this, but yes, this is just a little something for your little teaser, which means it is now your turn. You need to get connected and you need to get down here and experience this for yourself. Take a whole day, bring your family, and you know, have an educational experience, because the history is a lot bigger, a lot more detailed than what we shared with you in this little segment. We cannot begin to cover that history in this little segment, but we hope that we just gave you a little taste of what we have. All right, so I mean, first of all, Leroy, again, thank you. How can people get connected with Concordia Estates?
Well, you could always call 750-8369 if you're calling from our overseas number. That's +1 868 750-8369. Also, Concordia Estate has its Facebook page. They also have a symbiotic relationship with Green Tobago Tours because it's one family, right? So once you're attending Concordia Estate, you could get discounts on all other tours like dolphin watching, fishing, bioluminescence, glass bottom boat, etc. by just calling 750-8369.
All right, viewers, well, I don't need to say anymore. So you get connected while I just enjoy just taking in the ambience here.
Thank you so much, Candice. Such an amazing view and so much rich history here on the island of Tobago. Now, if you have been here for the Easter weekend and you decided to stay over a little bit longer, the Concordia Estate might just be that thing to help you finish off your trip or your vacation here on the island of Tobago. Guys, we had an amazing morning, starting off with some amazing conversation with Pastor Dutton, who is from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Then we went to Candace over there, letting you know some of the things that you can do while you're here on the island of Tobago. And guys, that's how we round up for this morning here on Good Morning Tobago and at Tobago Updates. Again, thank you so much for making us the #1 broadcast station here on the island of Tobago. Thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting and keeping up with the conversation here with us, guys. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day. That's it for today. See you again next week, Tuesday.
60,000 people strong.